As I was trawling through some press cuttings the other day, I came across an article about the new lectionary. I was particularly interested because I'd experienced at first hand the introduction of the then new lectionary as part of the seismic mass changes that occurred after Vatican II. The changes in the mass, such as the change from Latin to the vernacular, the moving of the altar into the centre of the sanctuary, and the priest facing the congregation, tended to overshadow the changes in the liturgy of the word. This was expanded, our current cycle of readings replacing what was then an annual cycle. And the aim was really to enable Catholics to know a bit more about more of the Bible. Of course, many scholars and academics had reservations, but the changes that most affected the ordinary person were the changes in the translation of the passages that everybody knew so well. For example, the greeting of the Archangel Gabriel to Mary, full of grace, was replaced by most highly favoured. And to this day, when I'm proclaiming the gospel, I still tend to lapse into expressions such as weeping and gnashing of teeth and so on. The article went on to say, and here I paraphrase, that now more than 50 years on, the pious hope was that a readable, accurate and acceptable new version of the scripture text used in church would be introduced. But of course, few issues have been as contentious in recent years as liturgical translation. And a decision of the Bishops' Conference of England and Wales to approve the Catholic edition of the English Standard Version for use at Mass in the forthcoming new version of the lectionary has not met with universal approval, to say the least. It's well nigh impossible for any translation to satisfy all the demands made upon it. But first and foremost, readings ought to help the faithful to prepare spiritually for the offering up of the Holy Sacrifice and the reception of Holy Communion. It goes on to say that apart from the usual academic and technical considerations, the subject of ongoing debate is the lack of inclusive language. Many would prefer the revised version of the New Jerusalem Bible, which was published in 2018 and was widely praised for its inclusive language. It's edited by the distinguished biblical scholar Henry Wansborough, whom we're familiar with from the Wednesday Word. But proponents of the ESV say its text is more accurate, preferring its more literal translation. Well, I'm sure this is a debate that's going to run and run. I hope a spirit of Christian charity will prevail, and I'd be really interested in your views.